Daniel awoke to the sound of distant bells. Not church bells, these were softer, more ceremonial, like something rung to signal breakfast in a house that still believed in tradition. He sat up in the four-poster bed, its canopy draped in velvet, and looked around the room. It was absurdly large. A fireplace, two armchairs, a writing desk, and a wardrobe that could swallow a grown man. The windows overlooked the east garden, where mist curled around hedges like smoke. He dressed quickly, grabbed his notebook, and made his way downstairs. The hallway was quiet, but not empty. Staff moved like shadows, efficient, silent, and invisible unless you knew where to look. A woman in a crisp uniform nodded politely as she passed. Daniel stopped her. "Excuse me," he said. "I'm Daniel Cross. I'm here to—" "I know who you are," she said gently. "I'm Margaret, head of household." She was in her 60s, with silver hair pulled into a bun and eyes that had seen too much. "Lady Eleanor is in the breakfast room. Mr. Hawthorne is elsewhere." Daniel followed her through a maze of corridors until they reached a sunlit room with tall windows and a table set for two. Lady Eleanor sat at the head, sipping tea from a porcelain cup. "Good morning, Mr. Cross," she said. "I trust you slept well." "Very well, thank you. This place is overwhelming." She smiled faintly. "It's meant to be. Hawthorne Hall was built to impress. But impressions fade. Truth remain." Daniel sat across from her. "You mentioned cracks yesterday. I'd like to understand what you meant." Lady Eleanor stirred her tea. "You'll see them soon enough. But first, I want you to meet the people who hold this place together. The ones Sebastian pretends don't exist." Margaret returned with a tray of eggs, toast, and fruit. She placed it in front of Daniel with quiet precision. "Margaret has been with us for 32 years, Lady Eleanor said. She knows this house better than an Yon." Margaret gave a modest nod. "It's changed. Not the walls, the people." Lady Eleanor's gaze darkened. "Especially my son." Daniel made a note. "May I speak with the staff?" Lady Eleanor nodded. "They've been told you're here. Some will talk. Some won't. But listen closely. Their stories matter." Later that morning, Daniel wandered into the kitchen, a cavernous space with copper pots hanging from the ceiling and a long wooden table worn smooth by time. Margaret was there, kneading dough. "You want the truth," she said without looking up. "Start with the garden." Daniel blinked. "The garden?" She wiped her hands and led him outside. The east garden was immaculate, rows of roses, trimmed hedges, a fountain shaped like a lion. But Margaret pointed to a patch of bare earth near the center. "Used to be tulips," she said. "Lady Eleanor's favorite. Sebastian didn't like the color. Had them ripped out. Cost thousands." Daniel frowned. "Why?" Margaret shrugged. "Because he could." They walked in silence. Margaret stopped near the fountain. "He used to be sweet. As a boy. Asked questions. Helped me bake. But something changed when he turned 18. He started calling us the help. Started treating the house like a stage." Daniel scribbled notes. "Do you think he's dangerous?" Margaret hesitated. "Not in the usual way. But he's careless. And careless people with power, they break things." Inside the library, Daniel met James, the groundskeeper. He was in his 50s, broad-shouldered, with dirt under his nails and a quiet intensity. Sebastian once demanded I replant the rose garden, James said. Didn't like the symmetry. Said it offended his sense of balance. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Did you do it? James nodded. Took a week. He never walked through it. Daniel leaned forward. Why do you stay? James looked out the window. Because Lady Eleanor deserves loyalty. And because someone has to keep the place from falling apart. That afternoon, Daniel found Sebastian in the billiards room, practicing trick shots with a glass of scotch in hand. Enjoying your tour? He asked without looking up. I've spoken to Margaret and James, Daniel said. They've worked here a long time. Sebastian sank a ball with a flick of his wrist. Yes, well. Every kingdom needs peasants. Daniel stared at him. You don't think that's a bit demeaning? Sebastian turned, eyes gleaming. They're lucky to be here. This estate is history. I'm history. They're footnotes. Daniel didn't respond. He simply turned on his recorder. Sebastian smiled. Good. Get my voice right. I want posterity to know how it sounded. That evening, Daniel sat in the drawing room, reviewing his notes. The staff had painted a picture of quiet resilience. Lady Eleanor, of fading grace. And Sebastian, of unchecked entitlement. The house was beautiful. But beneath the surface, it was rotting. And Daniel was beginning to understand why.